look, I think things changed. Let's just go chronologically with the strike in Majd al-Shams. And U.S. authorities understood there had to be a response. There's going to be a response. They're pushing very, very hard for it not to be targeting Beirut kind of writ large critical infrastructure. The Israelis were saying it's going to be big. It's going to be big. They wanted it to be targeted. And I think that the strike in Tehran really was more of an opportunity, given the inauguration of the president and the way so much of that was being kind of orchestrated around Israel. And they had an opportunity. I don't know if this is something, we'll never know if this is something the Israelis were planning for a long time, and now's when it came together. These things are impossible to know. I don't think that this actually torpedoes these diplomatic efforts. In some ways, I think it's going to give them impetus. Now, I don't know if it's going to be 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it is. There's going to be responses. Hamas is going to be angry. Hezbollah is going to be angry. Iran is going to be angry. But at the end of the day, again, those dynamics that are drawing both Hamas and Netanyahu and Hezbollah and Israel Netanyahu towards wanting to calm this down in some way, I think actually haven't changed. In some ways, for the Hamases, the Hezbollahs, and the Irans, like, it's a little bit more acute right now. Like, the Hezbollah has long said that they've achieved deterrence against Israel. I think Israel's going a long way to show that's not entirely true. And to the extent Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran believe that, they believe that the Israelis are going to be more aggressive in acts like these moving forward. Like, they don't want this to go in that direction. Again, I'm not trying to make this to paper over everything. I'm not convinced that Iran is going to start firing 300 projectiles at Israel again, or that Hezbollah is going to do something that Hamas can do anything that in the next few weeks is going to change things. I do think that moving forward in general, we're going to see more terrorist attacks targeting Israelis abroad, etc. The Israelis will tell you we're seeing that day in, day out anyway. And I think that there is still very, very much an opportunity, not this morning or tomorrow or next week, to be able to kind of leverage this to tamper down some of the tensions, in part because these weren't Israeli massive strikes destroying a neighborhood. These were, frankly, the types of things that the administration has been telling Israel they need to do more. If you're going to do things, make them as targeted as possible, targeting the bad guys.
Look, I mean, first of all, I just want to highlight again, emphasize the point that Matt said. The timing really was not, was not initiated by Israel. The timing was initiated by the attack on Majd al-Shams. That said, I would, it's not like we were on the verge of a breakthrough in the hostage talks. Already last week, the Israelis have hardened their positions. Bibi has introduced new things, and that was subject to a lot of debate in Israel itself. And Bibi has, for a while now, his position has been the more military pressure on Hamas, the more the likelihood of a breakthrough. So I think this will actually strengthen his hand in the domestic Israeli debate about this. But I actually agree at the bottom line with Matt. Hamas, or again, the one who decides on this is Sinwar and people on the ground, and their calculation is basically based on whether or not that they see the trajectory of the war coming in their favor or not. For a while, they thought that was the case. I think after the killing of Ghaith, things started to change. After Israel took over Philadelphia, things started to change. The killing of Haniyeh just does not impact this. Yes, they have to step out, but as we saw in the past, when the Israelis killed Aruri, who was a much bigger deal in operational terms, the Israelis came back. Hamas came back to the negotiations. The same with the killing of Ghaith. So I just don't see this impacting it. It will delay it. But I just, what will impact it more is what is the nature of my view, the Iranian and Hezbollah response, and whether we're going to be dragged into a wider conflict or whether this is going to just be a blip and then we're back to focus on Gaza.